My sweet, darling water signs, how are you? Thank you for joining me here at the Oracle of the Feather Crown Tree. We are going to do a monthly elemental sacred directions reading for you. This can also be for anyone that just has a lot of water dominance in their chart. Oh, if you do want a personal reading, feel free to book. You can just look below for my web address to mosey on over there and reserve one. Just going to take a little moment here to bring in the energies. Feeling like whatever's going on here is very true. It's ringing as I'm hearing very true. So your center card is your will, and then we'll look at the different directions. They all represent a different element. Now we're getting originality as the actual word, actual theme coming out here. Although what I'm hearing is that sometimes that is simply just taking an old system or device or, invention and improving upon it. I'm also hearing, though, doing something completely different, being led in a way through following spiritual messages, messages that really are, of the Most High. There's a master number 11 on this card too. So I feel like you are leaving behind something that you may have mechanized, or that maybe you have something mechanized that is just sort of in motion and chugging along. It may be in good working order. And because of that, it's freeing up your ability to pursue something a little bit higher-minded, intellectual. There's something about speaking passionately that's going to be very important. Although you're coming off as a master in a way, like very studious, serious. That there's an element here of seriousness that's really catching me off guard here, especially for your character. So, and I don't think that you're necessarily aware of it, but whatever you're pursuing is creating that type of character in you. And I'm also hearing kind of like aging you, like it's making you, it's an energy that feels, maybe wise beyond your years a little bit. Although now I'm getting the costuming a little bit, like trying to appear wise beyond your years, trying to be studious and, in the know about something, kind of have some authority on an area that you're cultivating in your life. Okay, I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's look at your position of fire, and this can be related to spirituality as well. I hear that you're in a tremendous need of nature, like it's your sanity. Like you're very, very connected to it, and it's almost like a partner for you, like a lover in a way, because without it, there's such a need for it that it's like you can't do without. And I'm hearing it's because it calms you down and also allows you to step out of any character role playing that you may find yourself getting into, any false personages of trying on different character traits in a way. So I'm hearing go into nature and observe yourself in nature, and that holds something for you about who you are when you're there in that state. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'm going to look at your emotional sector here, the water element. I'm hearing it's important for you to have certain elements from nature around you because they help with your emotional health. Medicinal things, they could be flower tinctures and herbal things. Ginger seems to be exceptionally powerful for you right now. This is very important for you, for your emotional health, and therefore your physical health too, and your mental health. You are working on kind of staying in charge of your emotions, not letting things get too out of control here. Because you're trying to cultivate, it's again this sort of energy. There's some sort of like mental energy that you're trying to bring through, or something that can start to come through, the mental, as well as the other kind of spiritual portals that our body and our energy field holds. And you just realize that you can't have a bunch of emotional interference going on when you're cultivating this state of being. And so you may even find yourself isolating a little bit because of that, because it's so important to you to have integrity and that kind of monk quality to your existence right now. Now I'm going to look at your earth sector, and this is going to be relating to your physical body as well as your environment, the earth. There's this quality of kind of weaving, of trying to move around things and not go up against things as if they're like a wall, like trying to, as water does so well, find a way around things so as to not interrupt your flow. It's even kind of like that machine feeling of it's in constant motion. And I think for you that's very important right now, is feeling like nothing's too stagnant and rigid and set in stone, that there's flux going on around you, and that you you feel yourself in the process of changing constantly. I feel like you'll, probably be fairly busy, like active at this time. And then in your communication sector, in your air position here, I'm getting an ant, and I can't help but think of, like really communicating, really cooperating with others. But this ant is like in isolation. It almost appears to be like treading where it's at, or barely even moving. So there may be something here about really trying to be in a certain position, but not acting out the behavior that goes along with the role that you have. And it feels like a little bit frozen. There may be a little bit of fear. And I'm hearing kind of like self-imposed prison here. There's definitely like all this movement that wants to happen around you, but you've sort of isolated and confined yourself to like freezing, basically. Stage fright. Let's see if I can get something to help heal that. I'm just getting redirected here, like, remember, like, you don't have to be something that you're not. Go back to nature. Get familiar with who you really are there. I think it will help release like an ego thing. When you kind of lose your identity to nature, you get absorbed into the oneness. This may take you out of this energy of kind of freezing in a certain position. You may also feel like you've been gathering too much self-import, like building yourself up because you need to, there's pressure to, and you identify with just being like a small thing amongst many other small things, So especially, if I'm dealing with water signs, but I think of Pisces a lot here too. Like it's hard to embody an ego and really be, blown up and have that sense of presence. So you just may be really kind of struggling with showing up and being part of something in the world that requires aspects of you that you don't necessarily identify with. And I've said this in another reading this month, and I'm going to say it again because it's so important, that it's more, always, like if you're lost for the identity, it's like being as natural as you can be is the most important, because it will keep others from receiving you as fake. Okay, that's what I've got for you. I appreciate you joining me for this, and I'm sending you love and blessings. Take excellent care.